Hi guys! Today I'm going to show you how to make this ice cream sundae cake. Now for this cake I've gone ahead and baked 2 vanilla 8-inch round cakes. I've used my vanilla cake recipe, which you can find the link for in the description box below. I've also made up some of my sweet buttercream and I've tinted it in a gorgeous shade of pink. I also have 2 7-inch round cake boards and a spatula to help me put on this buttercream. Now you want to go ahead and stack these cakes separately onto cake boards so that we can put in some dowel supports to help strengthen this cake. Place your first layer on, and then I find it's easier to just turn it over, and that way you can make sure it's in the middle. Now add some of our delicious buttercream. Place your top layer on, and just go around with your fingers and make sure that it's all lined up. And now it's time to do the exact same thing with your second cake. Now I'm going to go ahead and place 4 dowels into my bottom layer. Just marking it out with some holes first, measuring how high it needs to be. And then I like to use conduit cutters because they give a nice crisp cut. And if you're unsure where to find them, they're just at the hardware store. And then just pop them in. Now I'm going to add a little bit of buttercream to attach and place our second cake on. Now I'm going to pop this into the fridge for about 10 minutes so that it sets up and we can get carving. So what I want to do first is work on the second half of our cake, and I just want to slowly shave it down, and you want to pull it back until there's a little bit of room on the board. And the reason why you're coming in on the board a little bit is so that you can fit your buttercream. And once you're done with the bottom, it's time to start working on the top. So you want to go ahead and just start cutting off some decent sized chunks of this angle, just to start getting a curve. Now I'm switching to a steak knife just so that I can have a little bit more control over what I'm cutting off. Just working your way around. And a little tip for beginners just starting out in carving, if you're doing something like this shape, it's always a good idea to keep it more bowl shaped and less angular at the start, because then you have some chunkiness in the center part, and then you can judge how much to shave off. If you start going really severe on your angle, you can't put the cake back together. So make it more of a bowl shape, and then you can slowly chip away at it. Just working my way down to the start of that third layer, and then just start to join those up. Come back in and just make that a little bit more severe. You want to start with the crumb coat on the bottom so it's nice and easy to reach. And then scrape it back. And then work on the top. And just top it off. You know it, pop it back in the fridge for about another 10 minutes and then we'll be ready to go. Now this next coat is just to go a little bit thicker and come all the way out to that cake board. Make sure that you get a decent amount on the top edge as well, because you spent that time getting a little bit of shape and you don't want to lose it now. And scrape it back. And drag it up and work on the top. Doesn't have to be flawless, but you do want it to get it as smooth as you can. Now I'm going to place the cake onto a cake board. Now I want to start by working on the bottom. So I've tinted some modelling chocolate with some ivory, a little bit of chocolate brown, and a touch of lemon yellow. So now I'm going to take a little bit of corn flour and I'm going to roll this out. I'm looking for it to be about 25 inches long and about 4 inches high. And that's looking about right. Cut off a little bit extra. And that's right spot on. Now we're going to create a slight curve in order to go around the smaller part and then the larger part. Come up about 4 inches and just go along and make some marks. And then join up those dots. Or not really dots, more like dashes. Now I'm going to take a smaller rolling pin and just roll this over. And that'll just make it nice and easy to pick up. And picking it up, place it onto your board and just press it against the cake. Continuing to press and smooth. You can take your rolling pin out. And then where it meets, you want to just rub and then take a craft knife and cut. And you're just going to press them together to seal it up. Give it a good rub and the heat of your hands will help to join them together. Now looking here, I probably want to cut about 1/4 of an inch off the cake. So I'm going to go ahead and line it up in a bunch of spots and just mark it out. And just join up the dots. Now you don't have to worry about it being too perfect because we do have that big clump of ice cream that will cover up any imperfection. And carefully remove it. Now I'm going to look at making some lines that go across here on a diagonal, and I want to keep them fairly straight and severe. So you want to go ahead and using a ruler, place a mark at the top and the bottom, moving along and doing that again. And now I'm going to come from one line to the next. Now I'm going to go in the middle. And if you make a mistake, all you need to do is rub it out and go over it again. Now we're going to work in the opposite direction. Now coming this way, I find it easier to work my way up. And don't worry too much about right where it meets because it will be covered. Now taking some pink modelling chocolate, I'm going to roll some out for the top. And then I'm going to place it carefully over the top. And just smooth it down until you can feel where the other modelling chocolate is. And once I've got it there, I can start to cut away. I like to just cut a section so that I know exactly where it is before I keep going. And if you're unsure, always cut off a little bit less, but don't stress if you can see a tiny bit, because remember we have that overlap, a little chunky edge to come. And I'm going to take a little bit of acetate and just buff it to make it nice and smooth. You can also use a fondant smoother. Then I'm going to knead together some of the excess, roll it into a sausage, and you want this to again measure about 25 inches. And I'm going to start by adding it right to that base and working my way around. And then you want to start manipulating it and squeezing it in parts so that it gets really irregular. Now taking some white fondant, I'm going to make what looks like a little splatter of topping. You just want to go ahead and cut out some wriggly shapes. Have a go and you can see it's too big, so then you can come back and cut away again. And that's looking just about the right size. So I want to go ahead and blunt the edge just to make it nice and thin. And I'm just going to attach this with a little bit of water. Now to make the face, you want to roll 2 little black balls for the eyes. And you're just going to squeeze them a little bit so that they look like an oval. You can pop them on and just don't press them down yet until you're happy with where they're going to go. And then when you are happy, you can attach them with a little bit of water. And then for the mouth, you want to take another little section and just roll a very thin sausage. And again, make sure you're happy where it is before you attach it. Lastly, for the eyes, I'm going to roll a little white section and just pop it into the top right hand corner of each eye. Now taking a section of red, I'm going to roll a cherry. And then I also have a little piece of green floral wire, and I'm going to use that to be a stem for our cherry. And attaching with some water and just giving it a light press down. I want to add some little droplets coming off, so I'm going to roll a ball with some of my pink, and then I'm going to use my index finger and my thumb just to squeeze and go around, and that will create a little teardrop effect. Coming out a bit further to get a real point to it, and then I like to just curl it up a little bit on one side, and then attach with some water. Now I'm going to take some yellow, blue and some of our pink and just make some little sprinkles. All you need to do is roll a sausage and cut some little sprinkles. And then just attach them onto the cake. And there you are guys, we have our ice cream sundae cake. Feel free to leave some comments below for other creations that you would like to see us make, and subscribe to our channel for more videos.